everybody. It's Stewart and Swerdlow again.
And Janet Swerdlow again.
Yes, and we have to stop meeting like this.
Well, do you think anybody notices?
I hope they notice, but they can't tell us apart, from what I understand.
That's what I
Anyway,
hear.
this is the Expansions News Podcast for the very last days of March 2014.
The Ides of March.
Is that what that is?
I don't
I
know.
thought that's the beginning.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say the phrase.
Well,
I don't know what it means.
you're a little behind the times. But I have some updated news for them. It's not like I have a lot of news for you today, but I have updates on the old news. And of course, one of the favorite topics is my peeps, the Russians. And everyone's worried now because there's 80,000 Russian troops massed at the border of eastern Ukraine. And they're worried now that they've taken over Crimea, that they're going to take over the eastern provinces of Ukraine, which are about like 70% Russian speaking. Now, there's a difference between being Russian and Russian speaking, and that's kind of like worrying that because we are speaking English, that we are supporting England to take over the US, which, what's the difference anyway, you know what I mean? But anyway, so here's what remember I told you a long time ago about new Soviet Union coming back. Well, yes, apparently the plot is that the Russians are going to overthrow, or planning to overthrow, the new government in Kiev and pull them back into a new Soviet Union. And the former Prime Minister of Ukraine, Tymoshenko, who was in prison for a number of years, the one with the blonde hair, it's shaped like the Europa entity. Anyway, she was lovely enough to say that she thinks that Ukraine should nuke the 7 or 8 million Russians that live in Ukraine.
Really?
Yeah, she's a lovely lady, really. It makes you wonder why the Russians would be worried about their people there. Yeah, but guess what? Apparently, Putin has interest now in retrieving the former Soviet Republic of Moldova, which is also mostly Russian-speaking. And I just found out that Kyrgyzstan, another former Soviet republic in Central Asia, is eliminating the U.S. Air Force base that's been there for years actually, and has actually told the Russians to come back in, build them a new airport, and is basically being pulled back into the Soviet Union again. Same thing is happening with Tajikistan, the next door neighbor of Kyrgyzstan. And Tajikistan is actually building a railroad to connect China and Russia through that part of the world. And apparently, Russia also made a very strong economic and political pact with Kazakhstan, which is a very huge country, a former Soviet republic, and where the Russians had their space station base, Star City in Kazakhstan.
So isn't this reminiscent of this 39 move that you've been talking about
years,
right?
Yes, there was a
this is going to happen.
Colonel Bearden, many years ago, U.S. Air Force person, general, whatever he was, said there was a 39th move. The 38th move was the dissolution of the Soviet Union into the 13 separate republics. There's that number 13. So that the world would help them each rebuild their infrastructure, and then just when everyone thought everyone would be happy and independent, the Soviet Union just pulls it all back in with all the economic benefits that it received. But here's something more interesting.
More interesting than the 39th move?
More interesting than not quite more interesting than me, because nothing is. But what is even more interesting than all of this is that 10% of Alaskans want to secede from the United States and join Russia.
Really? How many people are in Alaska?
There's only about 300,000, and 30,000 said, hey, let's get the heck out of here. But you know what? Alaska was once part of Russia. And back in the 1850s, I think it was, called Seward's Folly, not Stewart's Folly, but President Seward, who bought Alaska from the Russians because the Russians needed money. And they had already colonized Alaska. There was just not much they could do with it at the time. And apparently everyone thought the president was foolish for, who needs, all that ice cold land up there. But you know what? The Russians want it back. And It'll be interesting if they invade Alaska.
But remember that tunnel that I had talked about
Yeah,
several
yeah.
months ago that was being built between Siberia and supposedly
Yes,
underground?
and that's what would make sense, because then they would connect, because then Russia would occupy 3 continents.
Right, and I had talked about that at the time.
Yeah.
That if they talked about building it, most likely it was already done, and what did
Well,
they
I
really
think it's in
want it for?
process, but the other thing is that then now Sarah Palin can say that she really can't see Russia from her house, because it's in it.
Right. But the
Yeah.
other interesting thing is I remember when I was growing up, it was always said that Russia at that time, of course they would always call it the communists, would take over the U.S. from the inside without ever firing a shot.
Well, that's part of the plan.
And here we go. I mean, we're seeing all these things happen
Yeah.
right before our eyes.
Yeah. I'm thinking of moving back to Russia.
I'm glad you speak Russian. I may have to learn
Yeah,
Russian.
I'm thinking of, you're not coming with me. are
I'm
you?
not.
No, because
Oh.
you're Italian now.
Well,
So,
well,
but I
actually,
can come-
if they secede, I'll be Savoyan.
like the dog Samoyeds?
Yeah. Well, no, Savoy.
Savoy, oh, Savoy,
Savoy,
yeah, okay.
not Samoy.
All right,
Samoy is
yeah.
Alaska.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Maybe it's Russian.
When my peeps come,
Like a samovar.
when my peeps come, I'll tell them to be nice to the Italians
And the
all that.
Savoyans.
And the Savoyans.
I'd rather be a Savoyan anyway.
Yeah?
Because that's technically more of that region.
Mm.
Specifically. Italian is just a bunch of little collectives of things. I want to be a Savoyan.
Yeah, that's true. Let's not talk about Italy anymore because they have a lot of stuff going on
Yeah.
there. More news about the unfortunate Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. Here it is over 3 weeks later, nothing. I told you last week what I thought happened, and I stick to that. I don't know if I mentioned, I think it was recent, that supposedly on the flight simulator they took from the pilot's home, there was a simulation of landing in Diego Garcia, so that's interesting. But what I find very disturbing is that the Chinese families that have gone to Malaysia to wait for the news of what happened to their loved ones, apparently the Chinese are being kept hostage in their hotel. And when they asked to go to a news conference that was for the Malaysian families, they were denied. And when one of the Chinese people tried to get into a taxi, the guards stopped them. So it's like the Chinese are being held prisoner by the Malaysians.
Well, I don't even understand why they took them to Kuala Lumpur. I mean, they're flim-flamming people all over the globe.
Yes, and that's
over
what the
this.
Chinese say. The Chinese say that they're lying, that it's a scam. They know that the passengers are alive and they want the truth. And so I think that's why they're blocking the Chinese, because they don't want these Chinese screaming in the news conference about this. But what I find even more interesting is they keep moving the scene of the debris that they're finding. Oh, it's here, no, it's there. Oh, the plane flew faster, no, it flew slow. It was higher, low. They don't know. It's like really, people. Apparently, some of the debris that they actually did retrieve from the ocean was a dead jellyfish, and the rest of it was fishing nets from trawlers. So here's what I have to say. You once knew a lady in Washington State, I won't say who it is, but she was associated with the government, and she said that satellites could pick up anyone even looking over her fence,
Right.
and she said they could spot a fly crawling on their shoulder.
And this was a couple dozen
And that was
years
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah, long time
So,
ago.
and you're going to tell me that they couldn't spot a dead jellyfish and fishing nets in the water with their, unbelievable. This is a big scam, people, and I think we will never know what really happened until the powers that be are no longer the powers that be.
Well, they're obviously trying to do some kind of research with these families, their emotional distress, to see how they're reacting to all of this. And I really believe it's some way they're going to extrapolate that onto the rest of us. I don't know how yet, but that's what I believe.
Well, I think it's still part of staged alien invasion, and I think maybe they'll say, hey, guess what? All the weird theories were true. It was a black hole and aliens and da-da-da.
Anything is possible these days.
They have to explain where those passengers went and where a gigantic airliner vanished off the face of the earth without even a seat cushion floating around.
But yet they can find your cell phone and unlock your car.
And by the way, people, it's been over 3 weeks in one of the roughest waters on the earth with storms and whatnot. Even if something did crash in there and floated for a bit, it's not floating around for 3 weeks. Not even a cup is going to do that. So they're full of crap, everything they're saying on the news. Now, on to a different story. As you know, this week there was a 5.1 and sometimes reported as 5.3 earthquake in the Los Angeles area with many aftershocks. Actually, there were precursor shocks, and then there were aftershocks. And this is a baby compared to what's coming.
I think they're still having shocks.
It's still there. Well, it's LA. I once had a friend in California, and there was an earthquake, and I called them up and I said, "Did you feel the earthquake?" And they said, "Oh, like we must have been jumping up and down at the time." I'm serious. They said that. Okay, that's people in LA. Not kidding you. Now, in addition to what's going on, just today, this morning, there were moderate earthquakes in Yellowstone Park, both in Wyoming and in Montana. And as you know, I've been saying something's going on there with the volcano, and most likely, and you know what happens when it blows?
Oh, I don't even want to think about that one.
Yeah, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, as they say. What's even more serious is that there have been almost incessant moderate quakes this week and even up to today in Oklahoma and Kansas. So Oklahoma and Kansas are in big trouble. I don't know what Dorothy and Toto are going to do because they're not used to earthquakes. They're more used to tornadoes and bleeping into other realities.
I'll have to talk to them about that since I'm from the Emerald City.
Yes, and you are from the Emerald City, absolutely. You're the rattle from Seattle, is like what I like to call you.
Thank you. That's so kind.
It is kind of me because I call you other names which I cannot say on camera. Now, also, the Vatican.
More about the Vatican?
Yes, guess what? There was just a major conference sponsored by the Vatican astronomer. Did you know the Vatican had astronomers?
Well, they must because they have that thing in Arizona.
Well, yes, and they're looking for, in quotes, brother extraterrestrial. This is from the Vatican. And according to what they said at this conference, that they want to find extraterrestrial life within 2 decades. Well, just
Really?
look in the Pope's bedroom.
Wow.
And also, they said that humans are like the lost sheep of the universe. This is the Vatican.
Yeah, that's very
and
odd.
Wait. And then,
More?
yes, and what they said about the extraterrestrials, they have remained in full friendship with their creator, and they're already under grace.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
So how do they know that unless they've been in contact with them?
Wow.
Yeah, and there's been many stories about aliens being brought to the Vatican, even back in the 60s and all. I think I've mentioned that on other podcasts. So very, very interesting about the Vatican. Now, my favorite, Angela Merkel. According to the German magazine Der Spiegel, they claim that according to Edward Snowden, the NSA has over 300 reports on Angela Merkel, and the Germans are furious and may start their own investigation. Now, a U.S. General, Keith Alexander, said, "It's necessary to keep the U.S. safe." Why? Is Angela a problem? Is she dangerous? Because she drinks a lot of beer and eats schnitzel and a lot of sausages, and I really don't think she's a problem.
That
Okay?
sounds strange
Of
to
course,
me.
if you put that little comb over her,
Yeah,
that
like they
she looks
did.
like her father. Yeah. But that's another story altogether. But here's something even more interesting.
Yeah?
Yes.
More interesting than all these other things.
Yes. Guess what happened in Texas?
That's my first story.
Oh, well then I'll
You
let-
stole it
I'll
from me.
let
No,
you
no,
do
go
that.
ahead.
Well, I'll just mention it and then you can
Well,
talk
I don't
about
have a lot
it.
to say about it, so I'll just
Because there was a mysterious stealth aircraft videotaped in western Texas. It was shaped like kind of like a boomerang, and they think it's some kind of transport aircraft. And a journalist who spotted it filmed it. But I'll let you go into that. I just wanted to tell you what happened to me on my Japanese radio show, if I may talk about that.
Are you asking my permission?
Yeah,
Does it really
yeah, 'cause
matter?
you
You're
know-
probably going to talk about it anyway, even if I said no.
Well, you're my handler, so I have to ask your permission.
Well, that's true. I'll have
Yeah.
to think about it and get back to you.
Yeah, anyway,
So you're going to talk about it anyway. I knew it.
well, I just want to let people know.
I'm losing control.
Hello, I'm
What can I
speaking.
say?
I'm speaking.
I'm losing control. What can I say?
I did a show with Japanese radio, and it was on Skype. And just as I started talking about Montauk Project, guess what happened? Skype went out. Just went
Dead.
review, and then out. And then you know what happened after that?
What?
I watched on my computer screen as my Skype icon bleeped out of existence. And when I tried to get it back, a warning message said it is invalid. So I had to shut down my computer, reboot it up, re-download Skype and contact them, and they were waiting for me. So,
Who was waiting for you?
Katazira and Matara.
You wanted to get that in.
I had to. I had, I insult everybody.
We know that.
But actually, when I'm in Japan, I will be searching for Katazira.
Yeah.
And
So who was waiting for you?
the Japanese host and the translator.
Okay.
And
they also,
actually,
they
and guess
said-
what? Guess what?
What?
They told me that when that happened, the Japanese producer in the studio said that it was sabotage. And that's very unusual for Japanese to say things like that.
Yeah. Plus, they said that they had tested their equipment and there was absolutely nothing wrong with theirs.
There's nothing wrong with the equipment. No, it's inexplicable. It's inexplicable, like Malaysia Airlines flight. Oh, but you know what? At the same moment,
Oh, that's right. You told
there
me
was
that.
the earthquake in LA. At that same moment.
Yeah. That
Now,
was
you cannot
interesting.
make this up, people. No. Okay, back to you.
Back to me. Okay, well, the only thing is I wanted to say about that mystery aircraft was that more and more people are reporting that there are UFOs that are triangular shaped. And so this particular UFO or whatever it is, mystery aircraft, whatever they're calling it, over Texas also had that triangular shape. So there's got to be something they're going to be revealing soon, or they wouldn't be talking about this so much. So that's all I had to add. It wasn't really major.
All right.
All right, so then on to the rest of my stories, although I have to say you had some pretty interesting ones. They may beat mine this time. Usually I have the interesting stories.
I know that my
but-
stories are always more interesting, but I don't say anything to you. I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
But I didn't talk about my shirt, but I'll have to do that after.
Okay. Anyway, we're just happy you're wearing one. All right.
I wasn't going to.
That's what I heard, so I was happy when you showed up here with a
Because
shirt
remember we used to
on.
do not
No,
news
you-
podcasts, but nude podcasts.
You did nude
Yeah.
podcasts, yes.
I'm not wearing pants, by the way.
That's why I have the paper up here, so I'm not looking too far in the incorrect direction. You think it's funny? You should be here.
It's
Okay.
cold, hurry up.
That's just what I was going to say. I'm surprised you're
The
not
seat
freezing.
is cold.
Yeah. You're supposed to use a towel down. That's correct nudist policy. You put a towel down
Yeah, I did read
before
that
you
on
sit.
it. Yeah, I did. I forgot. I didn't read that rule.
Yeah, you have to, well, you read it, you just didn't follow it.
No.
Next time you have to get the towel.
Well,
Okay.
then you can sell the chair with my Dharma.
That one is bad. I don't even know if on eBay what will happen. That would be
I
bad.
bet it sells.
Very bad. All right, so now we all know what happened to the color pale pink, which in hyperspace means unconditional love
And acceptance.
and acceptance. And now they are using that, of course, for breast cancer. So people who have breast
Yeah, that's
cancer.
all the news.
Right, so the new news is now we have supporting, I like this, supporting epilepsy. They want to use purple. So they actually on March 26th had supporting epilepsy day and they wanted everybody to wear purple. So as we know, violet actually stops epileptic fits. However,
So
purple,
does actually copper.
yes, copper will help. But the issue is that I'm wondering in my mind if they are going to be trying to now take that color purple, the hyperspace, which actually means deep hyperspace prayer,
Yes, and deep space.
and deep space, and it also is good for the blood veins, purple. It will help. So what I'm wondering now, if they're going to try and take purple and turn this into something else as well. So that's the reason I'm bringing that forward.
That reminds me of the movie The Color Purple.
Yeah, well, here we are with more purple. So there's something going on with color purple. You need to know your hyperspace colors, people, and the color codes, which you can learn in our member section where we have a lot of DVDs on color therapy. All right, the other thing that, well, I have a lot of interesting things,
go
but
on.
dozens of Marines are dying in car crashes. And in fact, more Marines are dying on the one Southern California base in the past 7 years than they have in combat. We have 28 off-duty crashes which happened in the same road, which I thought was interesting, between their base and Palm Springs. 15 of them committed suicide. Then we also have training accidents, homicide, drownings, and illnesses. So 64 in the last 7 years, more than in
Sounds
combat.
like my family history.
Well, it's very odd, I would say. So something's going on in that base in Southern California.
Well, just like the
perhaps.
one in North Carolina where all those wives were murdered by their
Yes.
husbands.
So, and again, the bankers, I mean, they're taking out people for a reason. So what are these guys down there? No, I don't know. But I just think, use your protection techniques always. Okay, then I actually have some good news for people, which I think is good. There is now a magnetic clothing line for people with limited mobility.
That's me.
Well, I'm
Limited
thinking about getting that
mobility.
for you. It actually looks like your shirts are buttoned, but it's actually a magnetic strip. So anybody that has difficulty getting dressed, or if you're a caregiver and
I
you
have
have
trouble
to,
getting dressed,
and you have
which
to,
is why I rarely do.
that's right. And so that's why you should have one of these, and then you can have pants on next time.
Or spray-on clothes.
Well, these aren't spray-on, although I have seen that one. But if you're limited mobility, look this one up, because I really think that that's going to be a boon to people who are either a caregiver or you have like issues with your hands, rheumatoid arthritis, things like that that are difficult. No, that's not nice.
I know.
Okay,
I'm
then
not politically correct, and you know that.
we know that. Okay, now there's also a possible new planet in the solar system, which is,
Ooh.
get this one, lies beyond Neptune and past the Kuiper Belt.
Aha.
They're calling this V as in Victor, P as in Paul, 113. It's got that 13 at the end, which is approximately 250 miles wide. And computer simulations say that this could indicate an unseen planet 5 times the size of Earth,
Right.
which is influencing VP 113. So I thought that was interesting, because we're finding all kinds of new planets out there. All right.
Maybe we can emigrate.
Maybe. Well, that's probably going to happen one of these days. All right, scientists claim now that they have found a way to read the minds of people.
Ah, yeah.
And have reported about that in the Journal of Neuroimage this month. And they're saying that they are doing brain scans on people, and from the brain scans they can get pictures of what it is you're thinking about, including your dreams.
Right. But you know what?
What?
They've done that for years.
Yes, but now they're telling people, and that's always the interesting point. Once they start telling you,
But remember I told everyone they had this years ago,
Yes.
and here it is.
they're telling the people about it. And also, this next article reminded me of what you told us about the Cyclops that was in suspended animation in Bolivia, surrounded by computers. Now we have suspended animation trials taking place here in the U.S.
I heard about that.
They say these are right now for medical reasons or for people with gunshot wounds, so to speak. And these are for people who they claim who are at the doorstep of death. They put them in suspended animation, they drain out all their blood, they replace the blood with a cold saline solution, which stops the cellular activity, and then of course the patient is clinically dead. Then they have a few hours that they can fix the injury, and if that can happen, then they replace the saline solution with blood again. So right now they're just doing it with pigs, but in Philadelphia there's a hospital, I'm sorry, in Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania, at a
Well,
hospital.
there's pigs there.
Maybe so, that's why I call it Pittsburgh. But anyway, and then now that they've done it on pigs, I guess successfully, now they're going to try it on the next, will be 10 people who will participate. I guess they won't have a say in it because they'll be like clinically
By
dead.
pigs, because it's in Pittsburgh,
Right.
so by pigs, did they mean like ugly people or like animals?
I think they mean animals on this
Okay.
one. Because remember, beauty's in the eye of the
Because
beholder.
you know what? I have replaced my blood with cold liquid, only with vodka.
Yeah.
And then I can put my blood back in, but,
Now, are you in suspended animation?
well, my blood type is V positive.
Yeah. All right, speaking of vodka, now this is one for you. This one is also, believe it or not, this one's in Philadelphia. The other one was in Pittsburgh. This is in Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania is a strange place.
We want to visit Dock Street Brewing Company
Yeah, we do.
because they are making a new beer called Walker
Ooh.
in honor of zombies.
So you walk like that after you drink it.
So guess what they're using for their secret ingredient? They have 2.
Oh, wait, porcupine anal fluid,
No, that was from beavers.
or whatever, and, I don't know, I give up.
Yeah, you should.
Okay.
They're actually using smoked goat brains.
I love that stuff.
Yeah. And cranberries to get a sinister and bloody color. And this is going to be called Walker Beer in honor of all the zombie stuff that's out there. So goat brains and cranberries.
All right, are you done?
That's it.
So I want to talk about my shirt. You might be saying, why is Stewart wearing a rhinoceros with his butt to us? Well,
Your butt isn't to them. Your butt's on the chair.
it is. Want me to show them that?
No. No, that would be terrible. Unless you hold up the towel.
I don't have it.
That's right, you forgot the towel.
Anyway,
You're going to give them nightmares, speaking of dreams.
I think they're
And
going to
then
get more excited and come here for the conference.
when they read their minds, these scientists, and they're going to wonder why there's a picture of a naked man's butt in
Well,
their dreams.
first of all, let me explain.
Actually, they're nightmare dreams.
Okay, back to me.
We're
Let me
already back. We
explain.
never left. We're on your butt.
Yes. backside to me. Let me explain. This shirt was given to me by a woman artist in New York City who's actually from New Mexico originally. I think she was Navajo or something like that. Anyway, she moved to New York at an early age and became a dancer. But unfortunately, she had some physical issues. She had to stop dancing, and she became an artist. And she made this T-shirt, and her name is Belinda James.
It's a beautiful T-shirt.
Belinda James, and I'm hoping that when I go back to New York, that maybe we can get her to put some of her stuff on our website, because she makes these extraordinary, and she not only makes the T-shirts, but she showed me paintings of her dreams. Extraordinary, extraordinary artist.
Well, we do have our friends page on expansions.com where you can scroll down on the right-hand side till you get to our friends page, and we do have very talented people listed there who
Go ahead, yeah.
who we like, and we promote their work.
But what's the symbol of what does a rhinoceros mean to
You tell us.
No. Well, first of all, it's horny.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's like, here's my butt, do me something, okay? That's what I think of you.
That's nice.
It's very independent. It's very independent, powerful, and grounded. You can't mess with a rhinoceros.
No,
So that's why she gave me this T-shirt.
because that's you.
I'm a rhinoceros. We're gonna teach rhinoceros frequency when
We are.
we have the
In April?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, rhinoceros frequency. If you want to learn rhinoceros frequency, be sure you come to our April event, 25, 26, and 27.
You know they roll around in mud.
Here in St. Joseph. We'll give you some mud to roll around in if that's what you want to do.
And you can stick your butt out.
Yeah, and be like Stewart if you want, but please bring a towel. That's politically correct. That is politically correct, according to what we've read.
All right.
Okay?
Well, do you want to talk about the conference?
I just did.
Oh,
Be sure you sign up and come. Okay, then you will be in Japan in May, and then we've been invited back to New York City in June, where you will be doing a short workshop on Introduction to Hyperspace Basics. So watch the website for all of those details, more forthcoming. Lots of stuff going on, we always do.
yeah.
Anything else? I'll make sure you get your membership. That's where you're going to find out all the behind-the-scene things.
All the behind the scenes.
That's right. So be sure you get your membership. And what else? We're almost to well, by the time they see this, March sales will probably be over.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the last day anyway.
yeah. So anyway, you're going to have like 1 or 2 days, and that's it, to get the March sales before those are gone forever. And what else?
Well, we have other things coming up, but that's
Yeah, we'll tell them later.
surprises later.
Yeah, we got to get these things
Yeah.
under their belts first. So lots of stuff going up.
I would get it under my belt, except I can't wear one like this.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so please be sure and like our Facebook fan page at Expansions, like our Facebook friends pages.
And like my rhinoceros butt.
Yeah, and be sure to check out everything, because we've always got tons of stuff going on.
Tons,
share-
tons of stuff.
Yeah, tons of fun.
Yeah.
So be sure and share with all your Facebook friends and everybody else.
Yeah,
So they know about hyperspace oversoul techniques. Let's spread it around the world.
We'll spread it around like what he does when no one's looking.
Yeah, rolls in the mud. Okay,
So,
With that
on that note, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
bye.